What's going on, everyone? Lukasz here from Shopmonkey, and welcome to our first ever Shopmonkey 2025 product recap video. I, for one, am very excited to be doing this video. It's been a long time coming. We're looking forward to doing more of these videos in the new year as well. So if you do like this, if you like this format, let us know in the comments. We're kind of curious what different formats work for your team. We know how it goes in the shop. It gets busy. You got customers coming in, you got vendors calling you. So the last thing on your mind is what came out in Shopmonkey this week. Hopefully videos like this can help you keep up on what's going on, and really excited to be doing this. So with that being said, we're going to cover 12 different features out of the 100 plus that we've released all throughout 2025. And I'll show you different resources of how you can find everything else that's been released and bookmark that you can also follow into 2026 so you don't miss a beat on different features coming out. So with that being said, we're going to actually go ahead and talk about our new unresponded message filter that just came out actually in the last week or so. That gives you the ability to find out what messages you haven't responded to, and a new functionality that lets you mark a message thread as done. Let's jump in. Let's check it out. Now, as promised, I want to take 15 seconds to just talk about our brand new support center. Our team did an awesome job with revamping the support center earlier this year. You can find all the latest help articles, information you need to learn about every feature I'm talking about today, as well as features coming out in the future. We've also moved our release notes into the support center as well, so you have everything under one umbrella. Easy to find, easy to learn about. Check it out. It's all live right now, support.shopmonkey.io. If you haven't checked it, I really recommend it. Let's jump back in and continue with this video. Okay, as promised, we're gonna start with feature number 12, unresponded message filters in the message center. If you haven't seen this yet, like I said, it just came out in the last week or so. So I wanted to start with this since it's hot off the press. We're gonna go up to the message center. I have right up here, and I'm just in a sandbox account, so I don't have the most active messages. We know some customers have a ton of awesome communications coming through, but what you'll notice is actually a brand new unresponded filter at the top of message center. We have a little tooltip there that just tells you that these are messages awaiting your response, and it excludes anything that was already marked done. So once again, that's a brand new functionality. We've never had this before. Just a really cool insight and a peek into the direction we're going in with our message center. If we click on unresponded filter, now we see that I only have one customer I haven't responded to. And what I can do is, if I'm done speaking with this customer, maybe that conversation's done and it's been done, maybe they called, I can go ahead and click on that and also select the little checkbox at the top of the message center. As the description says here, removes this conversation from the unresponded filter so it doesn't clutter up different conversations that are still waiting on your response. So let me go ahead and click that, and that is now marked as done. So once again, brand new features. Excited to be talking about this as our feature number 12 for this countdown. Let's go on to the next feature, feature number 11. All right, for feature number 11, let's talk about the work request form. Now, for anyone who's using our work request form, you know how powerful it can be to actually have an online form pumping in that information right into your Shopmonkey workflow. But now we've released a new feature that allows you to segment where those leads are showing up on your workflow board. So here you can see I have my estimates column on the left-hand side, but I also have this online request column, which now automatically shows me which requests are coming from my work request form. And that's what we're going to talk about and show you how you can quickly set this up and have a clear line of sight into which estimates were created in the shop and which ones came in from online. Now, once again, for anyone who isn't using our work request form, this is a built-in option for you to replace that email contact form that you might be using. You could put this on your website. You can also take a URL and put this on your social media. So Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you want, you can put this URL so that vehicle owners can click it, submit their information, and it'll show up right in Shopmonkey with the key details you need to get that estimate fired over to them. So let's check out how this looks and how you can quickly turn this on. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go head on over to the bottom left-hand side to our settings, and we're gonna go on over to work request form. Now, when I go to work request form, I'm just gonna move myself over here real quick, and we're gonna find all the settings on the right-hand column. Once again, if you are or aren't using our work request form, just a quick call out, all this information can be configured to either be required, hidden, or optional. But what we're talking about, the new feature, is the mapping settings or workflow settings in the bottom right-hand corner. Here, I can now establish where I want these work request form entries to go. And in my shop, I have that set up to online requests. Once again, our workflow is very flexible. You can name it whatever works best for your shop, but it's super easy to set up. You can set this up in seconds and quickly be able to see where they show up on your workflow. So that's feature number 11. Let's go check out what feature number 10 is and keep going down this list. All right, for feature number 10, we're gonna be talking about vehicle images. Now, vehicle images came out really early in 2025, really with the introduction of our latest platform here at Shopmonkey. And I don't think all shops are using it. We thought it'd be a nice, quick, easy one to go over in this feature recap. And it's something that we've seen in the field for shops who are maybe working on niche vehicles, maybe specific vehicle makes that have similar models that are gonna have different shades of blues and greens and reds. And you wanna capture where those vehicles are so that your team has an easier time finding them and identifying them when they're trying to get them into the shop. So let's jump in and check it out. On the workflow board, to turn on vehicle images, all you have to do is go over to the top right where you can customize the cards. So we're gonna go ahead and click on the customize button and click customize cards. Now, when I click customize cards, I see the top option to turn on vehicle images. So let's check this out. So I turn this on, save it, and there we go. Now I have all my vehicle images here on the workflow board. Now, when you're looking at this and saying, well, Lucas, do I have to take a picture, upload it to my computer, and then add it to the vehicle profile? Well, the good news is that if you're using our application on any mobile device, so if you sign into Safari or any mobile web browser, you can sign into app.shopmonkey.cloud, and you can just log in right into Shopmonkey to be able to upload those pictures by taking a picture. I'm gonna put a quick example of what this looks like here, but when I look at this on the desktop view, I can go ahead and click on an order, go to the vehicle profile. So I can do this in two different areas. I can click on the vehicle profile, click here and click that here, or I can just go to the right-hand side panel and click on the three dots to upload a photo. Now, once again, on the mobile device, which you're gonna have options to upload a photo, take a photo, or upload a photo from a file. Super easy to do. You can do that right from your mobile device camera. Once you upload that, it'll actually show up for your team on the workflow page. So with that being said, that was feature number 10. Let's go down to feature number 9 and see what's going on. All right, so for feature number 9, we're gonna be talking about internal notes. Now, these have been a staple of Shopmonkey ever since we came to the market many years ago, and we made some updates to them throughout this year. And so we know how important internal notes are. We see in the field how many customers are using internal notes to stay in touch with their team members, mention each other. And so let's take a moment to talk about the changes that happened in 2025. Now, when I look at an order, one of the biggest changes is the fact that internal notes now have a dedicated tab within an order. So when I click on the notes tab over here, it's going to open up a dedicated page for me to be able to edit these notes for my team. Now, when I go ahead and look at these notes over here, I can mention each other. So we can mention admin, service writers, or technicians out in the field, out in the shop, so that we can keep each other up to date on what's going on with a specific order. Now, this is one update, is the fact that this has a dedicated tab to it now. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that notes can now be viewed in the message thread when speaking with a customer. So if you have to leave a note while you're speaking with a customer, messaging back and forth so that your team internally knows what's going on, you can also do that. So let's take 2 seconds and check that out. When I go to Message Center, top right corner, I'm gonna go ahead and click on Messages. I could do this in 2 ways. I could just click on Message in the customer profile or the customer order, but in this case, I'm just clicking on Message Center because I have Dustin up here. So let's say I messaged Dustin recently, letting him know that the parts are coming in, but I wanted to see my notes. Maybe I didn't have this open. So let's go to Services. Maybe I didn't have this open and I wanted to leave notes at the same time. What we can now do is in Message Center, if you go back and click on the 3 dots, you can actually enable notes in threads, which will now look like this. So when I go ahead and click on that same order, there we go. Now I have all my notes that were left internally alongside the messages that I'm sending to my customer. Now, if you're worried, hey, how do I make sure that I don't accidentally send a note to a customer? We did introduce the ability to do that in Message Center, but what that'll do is when you click on the little post-it over here on the bottom, you're gonna see that this home modal turns into a yellow text box. So this means you're leaving an internal note. This is not being sent to a customer. So I can leave a note here. It'll post to the internal notes that we were just talking about, this whole section over here, and your team will be able to see that. So with that, that was feature number 9, our updates to internal notes all throughout 2025. Let's keep going down the list and check out what's at feature number 8. All right, for feature number 8, we're gonna be talking about our order checklist, but more specifically, a new line that we've added to our order checklist with the ability to capture tire identification numbers when flipping a estimate or an RO over to an invoice. Now, before we talk about that addition, let's just stop and talk about order checklist for a second. Order checklist is a way to implement SOPs, procedures for your team within Shopmonkey so that the right information is being captured along the entire journey for that customer and that vehicle. So we're gonna get to tires, but I'm gonna just jump into order checklist and talk through what these features look like, what this setting looks like, and then also show you what the ability to capture TIN looks like. So let's go down to settings in the bottom left-hand corner. We're gonna jump into this menu and we're gonna see an option over here on the left-hand side for order checklist. Now, for shops using this today, you're probably familiar with what you can and cannot turn on. Now, for those who are not using this yet, this is once again an order checklist setting to make sure your team is capturing certain information along the journey of that estimate and RO. Now, one of my personal favorites to talk about is the customer and vehicle data. More specifically, especially today, shops trying to figure out, well, where are my customers coming from? Do we have all their information on file? Can we reach out to them in the future? Well, why not make that information a requirement for your team? So for instance, referral source can be flipped over to required. And this way, before a ticket can actually be converted to an invoice to collect payment, your team's gonna have to capture that referral source and they're gonna get a prompt that shows up on the screen that says, hey, please enter their referral source. Now, once again, these have been around for a little bit now, but the new one is this line right over here for tires. Now, we now prompt for the optional or required ability to capture tire identification numbers on invoices. Now, what does this look like? Well, let's go back over to my workflow page. Now on workflow, I have this in progress RO over here for our 99 Miata. They came in for some new tires and I have all my information right in here. I have my labor, my parts, my tire lines, but let's go back to the workflow page and I wanna show you what this looks like. So there's multiple ways to make that RO a invoice. Once again, actually just to show that quickly, from within an order, you can always go to the workflow status in the side column and be able to actually select where you want it to go. But for this example, I'm just gonna show you off the workflow page what this looks like. So I'm gonna try to take this RO and turn it over into an invoice. So let's go and move it over. And here we are. So this is prompted because of the order checklist. And now on that ticket, order checklist knows that I have 4 tires in my quantity. So it's now asking for 4 tire identification numbers. So for shops working with tires, if this is a service that you offer very frequently for your customers, but you want to make sure that this is on record, on file for your customers and their vehicles, well, now you can make sure your team is doing that for every single order that includes tires, and you never forget to capture it ever again. So that was order checklist specifically around capturing tire identification numbers, but hopefully for those who have not played around with order checklist yet, check it out. It's a really great way to get those processes in place for your team. With that being said, let's go jump over to feature number 7 and see what else came out this year. Okay, so for feature number 7, we're gonna be talking about service card settings. Now, when I talk about service cards, what I'm talking about is the card within an order that embodies a specific service on that order. So here we have one service, so OE replacement for a suspension, we have front and rear, and then we have a 4-wheel alignment. These are 2 different services on this ticket 1018. Now, what we're gonna be talking about is a way to modify the way these service cards look, depending on how your shop simply prefers to have it look both for their team and for their customer. So right now, if we just take a quick glance at how this service card looks, I have my labor bucket and I have my part bucket here. I also see my cost for my labor lines. Now, the reason I'm calling all that out is because that is all editable within our general settings. And these are some of the features that came out in 2025. So let's go down to the settings menu in the bottom left-hand corner. And we're gonna go over to general settings on the left-hand side over here. And what we're looking for is the service card settings menu. Now, this is the area we've been fine-tuning throughout the year. Now, what you'll notice here are 3 different things. We have condensed service cards. I'm gonna show you that in a second. Add a labor line when creating new services. Now, this one we're not gonna show, I'm just gonna talk through it really quick. This one is the ability to either have a blank labor line when you create a new service so that it's always there, or if you prefer not to have that labor line there, you don't have to have it there. So you could turn that on or off. And the last one is the ability to display cost columns on line items. Now, this does not remove the cost field entirely. What this does is it just makes sure that it's not on the main screen. So if someone was to glance over, they wouldn't see your cost right up front. It would still be found in the side panel, which I'll show you in a second. So what we're gonna do is let's take a look at that ticket, 1018, take a glance, and then we're gonna turn these on or off and show you what the difference is. So 1018, once again, we have labor bucket, part bucket, and I have my cost columns right over here. So let's go back to settings. All right, and now we're gonna actually turn on the condensed card view, but we're also gonna turn off the cost columns. So let's go ahead and save that, and let's go over to order 1018. And here we are. So now we're gonna take a glance at what changed on this ticket. What you'll notice is that now the bucket of work is no longer bucketed by parts, labor, fees. It's now just one table of lines. So we can move these around as we wish. We can order them as we want, just depending on what your shop's preference is. So that is part of the condensed service card feature that we turned on in settings. The other thing you'll notice is that the cost column is gone. Now I'm gonna go ahead and select one of these lines over here for a part specifically. So if I look at the suspension shock absorber, once again, the price is here, the cost is not, but let's click over and see that this cost field is still applicable and editable within an order just in the side panel. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on the shock absorber. I'm gonna move myself over here, and we're gonna go scroll down on the right-hand side. Now what you'll see is that price, $73.76, is still here, but I also have the ability to adjust my cost now. So it's still there, it's just not on the main screen. Once again, just in case if someone was glancing over and you wanted to make sure that only the price was visible and not the cost. So with that being said, those are our service card setting updates for 2025. Let's keep going down this list, check out what number 6 is. All right, feature number 6, and we've officially made it 50% of the way through this feature list. Now, once again, this is only 12 features out of 100 or so updates and features that we've worked on throughout 2025. So thank you for making it to this point in the video. Now let's jump into feature number 6, which is actually Book with Google. I can only demo a setting here, but I wanted to show it off really quick, and then we're gonna jump over to feature number 5. So for all of our customers using CRM Essentials, now this is a CRM package that came out actually in the last year or so as well, includes the ability to manage reviews, create campaigns, and also create an appointment schedule that you can embed on your website or on your social media profiles. But more specifically, we integrated with Book with Google earlier this year. So I'm just gonna show it off. If you haven't checked it out, if you don't know where to turn this on, let me show you where that lives. We're gonna head on over to CRM, which is on the left-hand side. It's the little envelope kind of flying through the air. And we're gonna go ahead and click on CRM. And here we go. So we have Reviews Manager, Campaigns, Appointment Scheduler. You're gonna find Book with Google under Appointment Scheduler. So let's go ahead and click on that. And we're gonna go ahead and scroll down. Now it's really simple. Right over here, it's a quick toggle. You can go ahead and turn on Book Online with Google. Just one quick disclaimer here. Once you enable this, it can take around 24 hours for this listing to show up on your Google business profile. But after that 24-hour period, you'll see your services that you have selected for your appointment scheduler also show up on your Book with Google scheduler because of this integration. So excited to have this, excited to see what features our team keeps working on within the CRM realm going into 2026. So with that being said, let's continue talking about CRM for a little bit and go over to feature number 5. Okay, for feature number 5, we're gonna move over to a different part of CRM, which is the campaigns. And campaigns is a setting part of our CRM Essentials package. Now, there's a lot going on here, right? We introduced a ton of different things in CRM throughout 2025. I'm gonna focus on one of them, but just as a quick call out, there's a new layout to how CRM Essentials looks, specifically campaigns. You can see all of your active campaigns at a quick glance here. We also introduced templates here on the bottom where you can fine-tune some of the templates that we've put in place, and we continue to look at more potential templates into 2026. But the one I want to talk about, or the feature I want to talk about, is Audience Builder. Now, Audience Builder is a quick way to look at your customer base and be able to target them with the correct campaign at the correct time. So let's jump in and check this out. Now, Audience Builder can be found when creating a new campaign. So I'm gonna go ahead and just click New Campaign in the top right. We give folks different options for the campaigns that you wanna create. We have both email and SMS campaigns. I'm gonna just select an email campaign here. Once again, you can choose a starting point or a template. But for this example, I'm just gonna go ahead and build my own just for the sake of building out the audience filters. So I'm gonna go ahead and activate this. And although we're not gonna write up a campaign here, I wanna focus everyone's attention on the right-hand side of this screen where you can see audience. Now, right now it's telling me I have 125 emails in my customer base. Now, once again, this is a test count, so you'll probably have much more than that. But we're gonna go ahead and create a custom audience. Now, Audience Builder was built with the intentions of being able to combine these filters and really target the right audience, once again, at the right time. Let's look at these filters. You have customer address, spend all time, spend on average, customer tag. So if you label or put a tag on your customer, you can filter by that as well. For example, VIP. Last invoice date, number of paid invoices, vehicle overall, vehicle mileage in kilometers or miles, as well as vehicle year. So these are some awesome filters, and once again, you can stack these. So let's say I did customer tag and I wanted to add all my VIP customers. So I'm gonna add my VIP customers, and you can see 125 now decreased to 6 emails. So those are the 6 customers that I had tagged with VIP. And then you could also stack on top of that. So I can add, and let's say I wanted to go off of vehicle, and vehicle gives you the ability to select both make and model. So maybe I work on a lot of Porsches. I can go ahead and click Porsche. And from here, I can select which of these customers have Porsches. Now in my example shop here, I don't have many VIPs that are driving them, but if I did, I'd be able to continue drilling down on who I want to target with this specific campaign. This could be a seasonal promotion, this could be a one-time offer, however you want to frame it, that is completely up to you to write up that campaign and build it in the tone and style of your shop. But Audience Builder is a powerful tool that we released in 2025, and it's a great way to target the right customers at the right time. Let's keep going down this list. We're almost there, going down to feature number 4. Okay, so feature number 4 is surcharging. Now, surcharging came out earlier this year, and it was a long time ask from our customer base, so we're excited to have this available for our customers using Shopmonkey payments. Now, surcharging can be found not in the payments menu, but actually in the general settings menu. So let's go over to general settings, and what you're going to see is this settings field under fees and taxes for surcharging fees. Now, when I click on this, I'm going to get a drop down, and I'm going to get a couple buttons here, or specifically 3. One of those buttons is setup. So this is where you can set up those surcharging fees. I also have a surcharging fees FAQ and a really neat download window printout. Now this is really important. This is a really good printout to have ready for your shop to use once you enable surcharging. Now, I definitely encourage anyone interested to please check out the FAQ. There's some rules and regulations around surcharging. It varies from state to state. There's also some states that do not allow surcharging. So please check out the FAQ information. Make sure you're up to speed on what's possible in your area, and then you're ready to go and set that up in Shopmonkey. So that was feature number 4, surcharging. Excited to have this in the platform. And let's go down to feature number 3, see what else came out in the world of payments in 2025. Okay, for feature number 3, we're gonna be talking about buy now, pay over time, better known as buy now, pay later. In 2025, we came out with 2 brand new offerings for buy now, pay later, including both Sunbit and Affirm. If you're curious where you can find these, you can actually find them in the payments settings menu. So bottom left-hand corner, you go to settings, head on over to payments, and then there's gonna be a dedicated tab for buy now, pay later. Now, this is for any customer using Shopmonkey payments. It's something you can turn on whenever you're ready to start offering buy now, pay later options to your customers. Now, this is what it looks like in the settings menu. We have everything down here. We have Sunbit and we have Affirm. We have all the walkthroughs and links to FAQs and more information included in here. So please read into it, see if you have any questions. Most of the resources here will be able to answer those questions for you. And you're always more than welcome to reach out to our team, both our success team, our support line. Happy to answer any questions you have about buy now, pay later. Now, rather than just looking at a settings page, let's also look at what this looks like for your customers once you have this enabled. Let's go over to order 1049 over here. And actually, before we show the customer preview, I do want to show a tool that's actually designed for your team. So bottom right-hand corner, we actually have this little hover state that says eligible for buy now, pay later. So if your team ever gets a question from the vehicle owner, your customer, saying, well, hey, what are the terms? What are the details about it? Rather than having to pull up another bookmark or a document, we put this tooltip in the bottom right-hand corner for your team so they can just hover over and they have the key details listed right there for both Sunbit and Affirm. So this is more of a shop resource, so you could quickly tell your customer those facts. Now, for your customer, when they're checking out, what does it look like? So let's go ahead and just do a send preview here. We're gonna do customer invoice preview, and here we are. So now if I'm a customer paying for my order for the starter motor that I had replaced, maybe $1,000, I wanted to break this up monthly, I could click on pay, And as a customer, I'm gonna see multiple options. I have my card, which has always been there for Shopmonkey payments users, but also Sunbit and Affirm. What'll happen is once they click on this, they can actually go ahead and pay, and it'll bring them over to the Sunbit or Affirm landing page. That'll then continue with the application and bring this transaction over to see if they get approved so that the funds can then get sent back to your shop. So this is a quick preview of, once again, buy now, pay over time, buy now, pay later, as it's better known as. And we're excited to have these offerings available in Shopmonkey today. So if you have any questions, there's obviously a lot of details here. We could probably spend 15-20 minutes talking about just buy now, pay later, but definitely encourage you to check out our support center. Once again, that was mentioned at the beginning of this video. All the resources are there. And then if you just prefer to talk to someone, give us a call. We're happy to talk about what this looks like for your shop and answer any other questions you may have. So that was feature number 3, buy now, pay later. We got 2 more to go. Let's go check out feature number 2 and get to the end of this feature recap. Okay, for feature number 2, we're going to be talking about our digital vehicle inspections. Now, we've had DVIs since Shopmonkey was created as well, and we've seen some really awesome use cases out in the field for how shops are using DVIs, from vehicle check-in inspections to even some of the latest trends we've seen around QA, right? Having quality assurance steps along the way throughout the workflow so that once a job is complete, they have a QA template as well that says, hey, can we just make sure that the job that was required was completed to a certain standard, and they have a different technician check over that work, which is a really awesome way of using digital vehicle inspections to align with the process within your shop. Now, in 2025, we had a series of updates that happened around DVIs that I wanted to cover in this quick segment. So here, what we're gonna talk about is the ability to now have specific review buttons for your shop. So we'll talk about that, as well as 2 brand new reports that are now available for DVIs. So let's start with those buttons. Now, what am I talking about? Here we have the vehicle check-in inspection that I have for this vehicle, for the Honda HR-V. And maybe we were going through on the front end and on the driver's side, just checking it in, noticing that one of the fog lights was cracked. Now, if I wanted to inform the customer and let them know that we really recommend replacement of this so that the lights are working as expected, instead of doing passed, I can do either needs attention or failed. Now, if I fail it, what we're gonna see is the estimate requested or deferred by customer. Now, that is my internal language. What the customer gets is actually a different looking button with different text so that it just matches your shop's tone and style. So let's check that out and see what that looks like. All right, so we're over in general settings. Now, once again, bottom left-hand corner, we're gonna click on general settings and we're gonna get to this menu item. Now I'm gonna scroll down and we're actually gonna go to an area called customer authorization. Now, the setting we're focusing on is this one over here, show inspection review options. So basically you could turn those buttons on or off just depending on how your shop prefers to communicate with your customers. So if this was off, none of those buttons would show, but if it's on, you get to actually customize what that button says when your customer reads it. So let's check out what that looks like. If we click on customer actions, we get to actually customize the button itself. Here I have request estimate and not now, and that is the customer language, so that's what they would see. And then once they reply, your shop has a different view. So the shop view, so this maps over to the same button, your shop would see estimate requested or deferred by customer. So once again, these are 100% customizable, just depending on how your shop prefers to communicate with your customers. But that's what came out in 2025 when it comes to the review buttons that can now be turned on for DVIs. So that's the first thing that we changed. The next thing that changed with DVIs is the fact that we now offer 2 new dedicated reports for digital vehicle inspection. So let's check them out. All right, so now we're over in the All Reports menu. For anyone who has not been here recently, that is on the bottom left-hand side of our side panel. It's the last button for reports, and this is where you'll land up. You can get to the inspections report a few different ways. You can just scroll down. You can either search for it in the top right, or maybe you've already favorited it and you have it in your left-hand panel. So I have my vehicle inspection summary here, but I'm gonna scroll down just to show you where this lives. So let's go down. And where this actually lives is down here under individual performance, and we're gonna see vehicle inspection summary as well as the vehicle inspections detail report. So let's click into the summary and show you what this looks like. Now for the summary report, what this is gonna give me is a list of anyone on my team that is technically considered an inspector or just simply completes DVIs for our shop. Now here I have 2 employees. I have Lukasz admin and Ryan apprentice. And from here I can see how many inspections they completed, the number of vehicles that correlates to, the ARO, items rated, and then also the granular details on what passed, needs attention, or flat out failed on that inspection. So really awesome insights to be able to tell how your team is performing when it comes to DVIs. You can also drill into this information. So what do I mean by that? You can actually click on the inspector on the employee name and be able to see exactly which inspections these 5 inspections link up to. So let's click on Lukasz over here. Now I'm going to be able to see the vehicle inspections detail report, where I'm going to see all the different orders that Lukasz worked on that have different inspections attached to them. Once again, I can scroll through this, I can see all the specific details and findings. So these 2 reports came out in 2025, really to level up the DVI experience all throughout Shopmonkey. So that was feature number 2, all the updates that came along with DVIs in 2025. Now let's get down to feature number 1 of this feature recap video for 2025. Okay, and last but not least is reporting. Now, reporting as a whole has seen some awesome updates throughout 2025. From a brand new layout to saved reports and favorite reports to 9 new reports and drill downs that are now available in Shopmonkey. So let's take a second, let's talk about it. There's been a lot of changes that happened here. Now, we're not going to be able to cover every single thing that's changed in here, so I definitely encourage you to check out our support.shopmonkey.io support center so you can learn even more about all these different changes and reports that are now available. So let's jump into it. Let's talk about what's changed here. First things first is the layout, right? The layout's a little different. Folks who joined maybe not too long ago have not seen any other layout, which is perfectly fine, but we used to essentially have all of our reports in the left-hand screen, and it would be a long running list of reports. But now we have this all reports homepage, which gives you a better idea of all the different reports that are available in Shopmonkey, including a brand new search bar in the top right. Now, on top of that, when you find a report that you really like, that's important to your shop, you can easily favorite those reports, find them on the left-hand side, and also organize these reports in the order of importance that works for your shop. Now, that is the new layout as well as favorite reports. But let's talk about saved reports. So you're going to notice here, I have an example saved report. So this is a brand new section for a different style of report that you can now create in Shopmonkey. So looking at this one, you can see that the source says technician detail. So this means that this report technically started with the technician detail report. So let's jump in and see what this report used to look like and what the saved report version looks like. So let's click on technician detail. And the technician detail report is a very powerful report that shows you all the different details for your technicians, everything from service hours, labor cost, labor build, and a lot of different metrics in one location. Now, here I have some filters applied, so I'm gonna go ahead and just reset these for a second, and we're just gonna go to all time just to kind of show some numbers here in my example shop. Now, what happens with saved reports is, let's say that you wanna look at a specific technician report, maybe you wanna look at their report on a weekly basis. You can filter that out. So let's say we go in, let's filter it by LK Tech, and I'm just gonna go, let's say off of a year to date basis, and I wanna go from year to year. Same thing, you can go from week to week or month to month. So I have all my information here, and then you're also gonna notice that we have a lot of different columns here available in the report, along with some metrics displayed at the top. So you can customize all this, you can display as much or as little as you'd like. And then let's say you get to a point where you have exactly what you want up here, you have the columns that you want to reference. Well, after that, what you can do is actually save that report. So if you go in the top right and you click save a new report, it'll save a state of this report that you have just filtered out. So everything from the filters to the metrics at the top and the columns in the table itself, you can drill this down to what you want to focus on and then save a version of that report. So you can type in the name, the description, and you can even option to share this with the entire team, anyone who has access to reports, or you can just have it for yourself as a private saved report. So that's what the function of saved reports looks like. Now, when we go to our all reports section over here, you can see all your saved reports at the top of the screen. So now I have my example saved report. I can go in here and I can see exactly what I'm looking for. We've seen some awesome use cases for this in the field, seeing shops be able to customize the reports, their end of day reports, their sales summaries, their canned services reports, to see exactly the information they're looking for in a specific view that is important to their business. So that is saved reports, very powerful. You can really create endless versions of the reports that exist in Shopmonkey today. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is I mentioned earlier that we had a lot of new reports come out. So everything from sales by customer to the digital vehicle inspection reports we talked about, as well as some new end of day tooltips. So I'm going to show you two things. We're going to jump into the sales by customer report and then check out the tooltips in the end of day report. So Sales by customer. This is a brand new report that shows you the sales and profitability numbers by customer or by fleet. So once again, brand new report, something that was just released a couple months back here at Shopmonkey, and you can scroll down and see all the amazing details you want to look at by customer or by fleet. So this is just one of those reports that we released. And then let's go to the end of day report. Now, there's a lot of different metrics in here, and we got a lot of good feedback throughout the year saying, well, hey, I'd love to know where these numbers are coming from. So an initiative the team took was to create these tooltips all throughout the end of day report to show you exactly where these metrics and these numbers are coming from. So if you hover over these little eyes, the info buttons, you can actually learn more about each one of these metrics on the end of day report. So awesome work by our team. Thank you to our customers who submitted feedback around wanting to learn more about where these numbers are coming from, how do we get there, and how you can make the best business decisions possible with the reports that are available to you today. With that being said, that is a high-level summary of all the reporting changes that have happened throughout 2025. I'm really excited to see what the team drums up here in 2026. And I wanted to pause and thank all of our customers for submitting all the awesome feedback throughout the year to help drive some of these initiatives forward. There's a ton of stuff that we're looking forward to tackling in the new year, and really excited to keep expanding on reporting overall. With that being said, everyone, thank you so much for spending this time with us during this 2025 feature recap. This was a first ever video for us. I had a lot of fun making this. I know it's a little long. Thank you for those who actually watched the whole video, and it's completely okay if you skip through some parts. I know it was a long video. So I'm looking forward to making more of these throughout this year. We won't just do it on a yearly basis. We're gonna try to do this on a quarterly basis to actually capture in the moment what's changing in Shopmonkey, and really look forward to all the awesome enhancements we're gonna be making in 2026. Wishing you all the best this holiday season, and we'll see you in the new year. Have a great one.